morning. Oh my goodness, my voice is already going. Again, good morning. Here, I'm just going to exit here for a second. I got to get some water. I can see my voice already going, and I haven't even got started yet. So hang on one second. There we go. I'm back. Got myself some water. Just got a little bit of a marathon here of I want to review your PSA character rotations. Hopefully, yeah, we should be able to get through those in the time we have here. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Yeah, I wish I could have gotten to these rotations earlier, but yeah, in most cases, hopefully it's just tweaks and things as you move forward to build these characters. And part of the process, a little tweaking here and there, just getting them as best we can. I found kind of the same issues looking through these rotations and the ones from the previous class. Things that'd be nice to go back and tweak and consider when you're building your character. Again, looking at the 3/4 front, 3/4 back, and it's up to you for your construction if you need the 3/4 back or not. So again, if you've been following the keep it simple, hopefully you've the majority of your shots need the 3/4 front and backs if necessary. Okay, so we'll get started shortly. We'll just, yeah, well, we've only got so many here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to review using the document camera and do a draw over and such. And yeah, and this is just to improve where there are some issues or where there's some weak parts and such that you can redo the rotation or tweak it. Again, portfolio piece, I'm pointing out things that industry would be zeroing in on and making sure that we're addressing that and trying to fix and make it that much better so that it's meeting expectations, not just my expectations, but industry, what they're looking for when you go applying at studios and where your artwork, your designs and such should be for them to take interest. Okay, so chipping away. I took a quick peek at what I want to review on Thursday in animation, and that's the Hawk and the Hawk lip sync. I just looked at the first few submissions and looking really good. I was very happy with that. So, you know, if you translate that into your own character and getting your character working, I think it'll be really, really good. So looking forward to that, but we'll be reviewing those on Thursday. So it'll be another long one. I'll probably even start at 9 o'clock to make sure I got enough time to go through everything. And if time allots, if not today, again on Thursday, I'd like to go over the mouth charts as well. So yeah, I've got them all printed out here so I can start going over and just making sure things are, you know, any little tweaks that are necessary or such moving forward there. Okay, so again, here is what's the today, week 10. Yeah, so we have yeah, a few more days of this week, and then there's 4 more after this, 3 more in-class sessions, and then a exam week, which if requested, I can do Zoom and we can do some drop-in sessions if you need any help to get scenes finalized and get your film put together. Okay. So I think we're well on our way. Again, the Hawk's looking really good, and he's ready to roll for all of your scenes. So you can continue with setting up the Hawk. Uh, Things I want to really take a look at is you'll see in the lesson today is your backgrounds. So that's the last element of getting your film together. So we've addressed the Hawk character and what needs to be done and getting him talking. We're well underway of getting your character refined and built and talking as well. And then what we need is the environments, the backgrounds of which they're going to be performing in front of. So again, hopefully everybody's kept it simple, that you have one location, maybe two, maybe three backgrounds of different perspective that you're going to make use of for the action to work. And yeah, we'll be away to the races. And I'll go through that process. We still have 3 weeks of classes instruction and going through the process. But as long as we're moving forward, I think we should be in good shape. But now's the time, with the film to really concentrate on the elements that you need to get the film together, and clear some time in the coming weeks here to really concentrate and finish the animation, lip sync and such, and getting the film all together. Okay. Again, in the past, same instruction, same time frame and everything. We've got some fantastic films that I've shown, and in the coming weeks, I'll re-show those and look at some specific areas of where there was some clever thinking on how to resolve some of the action and the animation working. And yeah, hopefully some inspiration and some guidance as to how you can work on some of your challenging scenes and things. Okay. So we're kind of, oh, well, not a whole lot of people here. 9 of us. Anyway, let's see. I'll just wait a little bit more. But when I'm reviewing, giving feedback, I'm just going to kind of go through. I'll ask if when I put the artwork down, I'm just going to go through it, from top to bottom, and let me know if you're present, so that if I'll know to go through more detail and really give the feedback that'll really help out. And again, if you got any questions or any clarification, please let me know in the chat, or put on your microphone if I'm going over your piece, and if you want to chat about it and see where we're at, that would be great. That'll work out really well. Okay. But yeah, I was hoping we'd get more showing up here. I know I usually do an hour or at 11, just to recap what's on the Canvas page. But here on out, I'm going to have longer sessions, and I'm going to be getting a lot of feedback and making sure we're on the right track, and we're refining things and that they're working well for your film. Okay. So with that, if you have any chat now, again, I just want to wait a few more minutes, see if we get any more people showing up, and hopefully everybody's doing well and keeping up with everything. Anybody have any feedback you can give me on the assignment so far? How you're doing? Are you running into any issues? Please, yeah, let me know. Give me some chat here, so I know where to focus in the coming weeks, where we need the attention. But I do want to catch up with feedback and making sure that everything is working. Your character, the Hawk character, which I want to go over this week, make sure he's working. And yeah, and then you'll see in the lesson this week is tackling those backgrounds. So I'm going over the whole process of from the rough to the cleanup to the color stage, looking at overlays if you have foreground elements. So it's things for you to consider and think about. I do want to review your environments backgrounds that have been submitted so far, so that we can see where we're at and give any feedback before you get into the color stage. Okay. All right. So sounds good. I don't see any chat, so and I haven't got any more people coming in. So let me just check and see where we're at here. All right. All right, I'm going to turn my light on here, and I'm going to switch camera to the document camera and start taking a look. And again, I'll make quick comments on all, but if you please let me know if we're looking at yours, I can spend a lot more time and go into detail for. So, all right, so here we are. There we go. Again, none of the artwork that I printed out has any names on it, so you'll have to flag me down or give me some indication that if it's your artwork or not. A couple of these, I did a little bit of redraw and such, just to pick out things. And I find that a lot of the comments that I have, excuse me, are pretty consistent throughout. It's kind of a common issue. So like on this one, I've already done a pre-drawing on this, and if the owner of this one isn't here, that's fine. I'll use it as an example of things to look out for, and to address that into your own drawings and such. So here I got the 3/4 front view of this character. Like the design, very cool, nice proportions, got some real style to it, which is very good. Issues that the main issue that I have and have had with the other class and such is feet. This one here. So to give the illusion that we have some depth, this foot should be down here, this one up here. So the one closest to us should be a little lower, so or it appears to be a little bigger, so that it looks like it's closer to us. This one a little smaller, a little farther away. Also trying to get a little structure so that the character looks like they're solid on the ground. It seems to be a major issue people are having. And yeah, and a lot of the feet are looking two-dimensional flat, and trying to get that illusion of some 3/4 angle happening is important. Yeah, let me just go over. Here's my little rework of this, just so you can see. And it's also part of the design is figuring out how you're going to construct and build this. I know I've gone over this in the past, making sure that we have a good idea how we're going to pull this off and make them work, and make sure that there is pivots and joints and leveled so that the character is functional. So although this is a nice design, it just, yeah, I like it to be cleaner. I think in a lot of cases, they're not quite as clean as I was hoping they're going to be. Gone over a number of demonstrations on cleanup and such, but still getting some very rough drawings being submitted. So I want to make sure that we're cleaning up really carefully. So again, these rotations are what we're building from. So just as I provided you for the stretch character and with the hawk character, and have gone over with my character, is it's that draw through to make sure we know, how we're building and pivoting the character and making sure that everything is articulated and we could make the character move and function. So, usually in my redraws and comments here, I'm going to be going where the joints are and how you're going to make that function. The pelvis on this one, how this leg, and again, we have that line for the pelvis and how that line would be seen here, and this leg going underneath, this one being a bevel and blending into it. So again, the more graphic, cartoony the style is, the more you can get away with this pelvis line working. A more realistic character, it comes a little bit of an issue, but I'm hoping to go over some solutions for that so that you can hide that line, but still have the depth of, leveling this one behind the pelvis, this one even with the pelvis. So if they cross over each other, it works. But just for the integrity of the design, that we can get rid of this big line crossing over here if that's an issue. So there's tricks that we can get around to do that. So again, the feet, trying to get, here is this foot lower, this one higher, and trying to give it a little bit of a 3/4 look. So it's structure. So I'm trying to draw it where there's a heel and that the front of the shoe is coming around and has some semblance of structure and dimension to it. This is awfully sketchy and very rough. So it's the care needed to really refine the designs and make them work. And, and even on the hands and such. So, and in this one too, I was just trying to give that, very graphic looking. I was trying to give it a little bit more 3/4 dimension in that hat so that we can tell it's a hat and not hair and or what it's representing. Okay. And then big issue comes in with the 3/4 back. That seems to be the biggest problems that I've been seeing in the submissions is how the back view is working. And yeah, there's some things we want to address and make sure is working. So the body here is 3/4 and is working relatively well. But again, this foot should be further down. And again, it's the opposite one. So it's whatever's in the front is the bigger and lower. And the one in the background is smaller and just set back a bit. So it gives that 3/4 illusion going on. So the other biggie is the head, getting a 3/4 back view of the head. So here it looks like more profile because I can see the eye here. I believe that's what I'm looking at. And this ear sticking out to the side, it hasn't really moved. So there's some strange things happening there, which I have some suggestions of how we can fix that. And that's the drawing I have here, if that works, if you can see that. So 3/4 back of the head. So, and then even the hat, getting that to work in 3/4, giving it some structure. But 3/4 back of the head. So we're seeing just the silhouette of the forehead and the cheek coming out, which we have here. Here I'm using this simple shape to show a 3/4 back view of this ear. So we'd be looking into the back of the ear. So it looks very different from the front. And then the other ear, which we see here, that silhouette coming out, and we're seeing that from the other side. So there's some depth to that. So I just want to make sure that structure is working. And then the feet. So here, compared to what was there, again, I'm trying to give it a little bit more structure and bring this down a bit so that it's 3/4 and looks like it's on solid ground, like a plane, a grid on the ground. So it's looking solid. The same as what we did with the stretch character, same we did with my hawk character, and what I'm demonstrating in my PSA character and other characters that I've shown up in the videos as well. So I just want us to take a second look and make sure we're applying that. Okay. So again, when I'm talking about breaking the character down for construction, I'm breaking it down so the characters totally are articulate, so that the legs move, that you can walk the character. But if your character isn't walking, yeah, you don't have to go all out and rig the character. Again, it's rigging the character what you need and what's going to be on screen. Okay. But hopefully here we can see a little bit of the difference of what I'm hoping for on structure, clean line, and just working things out. You can see this one is quite rough, and where we can fix that by just fixing this a bit, by cleaning up that line and but thinking of the structure and that 3/4 view, that it's solid and makes sense that it's working, and that we're thinking about how the character is going to be jointed at the shoulder, at the elbow, that at the wrist. you know, we've got everything working so that the character can really fully animate. And some great examples, a lot of the animation that was handed in with the stretch character was really nice. And the ones that used all of their articulation, all those pivots and things really came alive. So I'm just pointing that out and hoping you're going to apply that to your character. All right. Okay. So I don't think that was anybody, but I just wanted to go over because it's kind of a common theme that we'll be seeing throughout these drawings that I'm going to be going over. Again, is this anybody's here? If I can get some feedback here from anybody. Again, I did a little redraw on this one previously. One thing I want to make sure is when you're doing these, that you're scanning them in and nice and clean, that the backgrounds are white and the lines are black so that you can import this in and create your character by tracing over and building all the pieces that you need. This was the initial one that I had that was handed in, and a lot of shadow and everything here. So I took it into Photoshop and just tried to clean it up some. So, you know, that's going to be difficult to import that in and draw over. So it's, you know, just let's clean up, let's polish, let's try and do the things I've been demonstrating in the previous videos, and constantly trying to remind you to get a good flat scan with nice even lighting. And, you know, I've gone over Photoshop, how you can lighten that up and darken the lines so that you've got something to work with. With this one, again, I kind of did a pre-draw on this one. This is the last one I got a pre-draw. The rest I will work up as necessary. Again, a bit same issues. You know, the line quality. This one's a little better, not as sketchy. And once I cleaned up the grays and things, got the line work to really jump out. But it's making sure, again, that every line has a purpose and that it's working on the overall look and structure of the character. Feet, same issues. They're kind of blobby and you know, on the same plane, not really getting the sense of the leg and foot in the foreground and the one in the background. The hands, yeah, did a lesson on hands, and I've been going over in most of my reviews trying to fix hands, and there still seems to be a lot of issue of getting hands working. So I'm hoping you spend a particular amount of time really taking a look at the hands and making sure they work. So structure, I mean, there's some nice stuff going on here, but I got some tweaks. The 3/4 back, again, there's quite a few issues on how to handle the 3/4 back, and particularly in this case, the head and such, of simplifying and making sure it looks 3/4 and is keeping on model with the character. Because on this one, there's a nice slope up the back of the head, and there's some contour on the face here, but in the back view, it's kind of a rectangle. It kind of got squared off with these two parts sticking out. And even the thickness of the neck doesn't relate to the 3/4 front view. So we've got to make sure it's on model that we're addressing these things. So first off, here's my little tweak on the 3/4 front. And again, the 3/4 front, and as we did the mouth chart and how I built my other characters, is just favoring the face, in this case, to the left-hand side. But we still want to have the mouth all within the face. Here, it's almost in profile, that the mouth is coming in from the side as if it's a side view. And even the nose is hanging off the face and is barely on the front. So I've just rotated that around so that we can see the face. Because as we're building this and going to go into close-ups and things, we want the best view so we can see the character, the expression, and the mouth shapes and the things happening. So it's just refining and tweaking things to make sure they work. The ear, yeah, it's kind of, I just like a more distinct ear that I put on here. This is a nice line coming up. So yeah, I just really wanted to retain that. And I found this a little odd. And again, that's the structure, the 3/4 structure, not quite working there. So I've kind of played with that so that this shirt and the little V shape is more structured coming. Now, the other thing is worrying about elbows. And in a number of cases, not just this one, and this is why I want you to double check your own, is where is the elbow happening? And if it's right where the sleeve is rolled up, well, how's it going to move? How are you going to make that work? So it's either bring this up higher or bring it down lower so that we can have that seamless circle pivot for the hand. So I just put that up so that we have elbow space so we can move that character. Now, looking at the waist and the movement that would happen, quite often, you know, I had the pelvis as the center of the character and try and wherever the shirt line is, rotate the character there. But for a number of designs here, I'm getting, you know, the waist seems to be higher and it's pinched in the upper body here. So it's really, you know, your waist movement to get the upper body to move from left to right. You can have this part of the body ending with a circle and this part of the body come up in a circle. So you've got that seamless bevel happening here. And then you got lots of movement and pivot for the character. Okay. As we work our way down, working on hands. So I just made them more distinct. And again, the breakdown of the hand, that, you know, a square or a rectangle for the palm, and that we have fingers coming off of that. And again, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going with 3 fingers, and hopefully designs are more simplified, cartoony, so we can get away with those, just the 4 overall fingers like we have on the Hawk character. So it's just giving that more definition so that it reads in the final construction. And then the end is the feet. So on this one, again, I'm bringing the leg in front down, maybe a little larger in size, and then trying to get a little bit of structure. Let me just tweak that. A little bit of structure in the foot. So it is representing the 3/4 view. And can even put a little construction line, a little sole line there. That's up to the design and how you want to do it. But you can see that this looks more planted on the ground than here. So it's just taking a little bit of care. It's just going back and making sure it's 3/4 and there's structure and there's definition. Because if you had to build from this, yeah, there's going to be some difficulties sorting it out. But building from this is going to be a lot easier because you've thought it through and it's got some structure to it so that we can make it work. And again, I'm drawing this 3/4 view with the leg slightly larger, a little bit down, this one a little up. So it looks 3/4 and looks planted on the ground, because most of your backgrounds will have that grid that we've talked about since last semester for a ground plane. And this is going to work in dimension better in working with your environments than here, having it flat, all lined up, all two-dimensional on a single line. That doesn't give you that depth that I was hoping for. Let's take a look at the 3/4 back. So again, the 3/4 back's got to relate to the 3/4 front. So the same thing with the back here. I tried to give a little bit of structure to the feet, bringing this one down and aiming those feet off in that direction, as opposed to flat two-dimensional on a single one-dimensional plane. Just trying to work that out a little bit. And then that hand from the palm side. And the biggie is how to treat the back of that head. And it's the same idea as the last one. It's, it's the 3/4 back. You're not going to see the face or anything going on there, but we do want to take a look at the ears. So this ear protruding out here, which is here, we would see coming out in the silhouette. Well, that's actually the one that we don't see over on this side, but this one, once it comes 3/4 back, and you can look in mirrors or look at family or friends, say, turn away from me. I want to take a look and see what your ear looks like. And you'll see it's more this sort of shape. You end up looking right at the protrusion of the ear straight on. So it has a bit of a curve, but it's got a bit of depth, but it looks quite different from the 3/4 front view. Okay, so there we go. So kind of the same issues and things of the first one we looked at, just a different design, but the same issues and things that we got to deal with. Now, one that, and again, as you keep looking and such, the more you can tweak. I do that all the time. I do something and then come back and take a look at it again. Went, oh, geez, I didn't see that. So it's constantly tweaking. Because here I'm looking at, again, I was talking about that neck, like here, it's very thin and here it's super thick. So I've kind of got the same issue here. I do have this pretty thin and this one's not as thick, but it's still a bit thick. So I really need to refine and try and get that proportion right. And sometimes, and you know, this is the trick of design, it's the difference of a pencil width sometimes, or close to get that to work. So I'm just trying to get that width to match over here, keeping it on model and making that work. Okay, there we go. Again, I'm hoping these help with the overall direction and what I'm hoping to see. Here I've got another. If this is anybody's, please indicate. Otherwise, I'll just kind of breeze through and won't spend a lot of time on it. But this one's quite nice. A lot of the things are already addressed. You know, that 3/4 back, the structure on those feet look 3/4 tapering away, quite nice. Even the front view, it's got some depth to it and look like their direction coming out. So 3/4 working very nice. Nice cleanup, nice solid line. This you can trace from and build the character. So, and that's just the line quality and thinking about the structure and making sure that's working. There we go. We've got somebody else just entering. Hello. We're in the midst of reviewing the character rotation with the Hawk and just seeing how the drawings are. I'm giving some feedback on structure, on line quality, and how things are working from front, the 3/4 front to the 3/4 back, and the issues I've been mostly seeing. I'm kind of going through all those submissions, and those are here. I can sit down and give a little bit more of a critique and make sure you're good to go. But anyways, this one's got a lot working for it. A lot of the things have been addressed that I've been talking about. I don't see near as many of the issues that I had with the first two. Even the 3/4 front face, look at the 3/4 back. Again, there's that contour of the face, you know, the nose kind of protruding out, but then the ear. And again, we're seeing a different perspective, so it looks different, but really coming together. Like I can see this one coming together and being able to construct that and build it. The other thing is just thinking about the joints. Where are the joints going to work? How is your pelvis going to work? Like I see these legs, and if you need to move that character, if you're walking your character or not, or how you're dealing with it, these are things you have to address. And the way this is working here, I'm not sure how much flexibility you're going to get on the legs. I'm just trying to think if that drew up further and if this was in behind where you need the pelvis or where you need this to work. It's almost like we need a line coming up here and across here, of which, you know, if that came across, you know, this would blend together. So, yeah, again, that would be your pelvis. This part of the pants would be part of the leg, which would have the bevel to make that work. This one would fit up in behind, and this would be layered in behind. And then the issue was, well, you know, again, you can get away with a simpler character like the ones I have done. This line kind of works with the very cartoony simplified shape. In a case like this, that might look a little odd. So one of the solutions I was going to recommend, and see if they come up in other ones, is, if you do have this pelvis coming up like so, and again, this one, so that it overlaps, so that, this upper body is where the hinge would be, and you can rotate that or move that character left and right to give it more movement and such. But here, if you need this, you need this to be a bevel so that this bevel hides this leg. This leg needs to be behind, so it goes behind this leg, but you end up with this big bevel line here. How we can get rid of it is those two-dimensional details like this here. You would take the line tool and draw that, and inset for a line, and then color the inside and just put it on. Well, here we can do the same sort of thing. We can create a patch, a two-dimensional patch like this, and lay it over top so that it hides that part of the bevel on the leg, so that this can move and can be layered the way it needs to be, but we just hide this line. It's there, but this will be sitting just in front of it so that it hides it and keeps the integrity of the design and not having this big line sticking out. And the same thing is going to happen in the 3/4 back view. And again, that's an issue in construction if you need your character walking or moving around, where you need to separate these legs in depth and work that out. Okay, so there we go. Is this anybody's here? If anybody can flag me and let me know if this is your design. Okay. Feet are starting to work where it is looking, so got some dimension, even in the back. There is, cleanup issue in that it looks like a real wire bended tracing, and the lines are very, very wobbly. I wouldn't suspect that you would be tracing over this to create your character. It needs another go over. It needs a structural cleanup here so that it works and makes sense. So this is what I want to make sure we're doing. Again, I've done a number of examples, even from last semester to this semester, on cleanup and structure. It's something I've been harping on, and I'm really needing to see it for your character, especially with this rotation. The 3/4 front has to be really 3/4 and structurally working. Little things here, got an ear here, the ear is missing here. So yeah, there's some detail issues as well as, that structure and getting that working. Okay. But I won't do a draw over if the person whose this is isn't here. But these are the things I'm picking out, and I'm hoping that you who are here are getting it. You're seeing it, and sometimes it's easier to see where things can be fixed on somebody else's drawing and not your own. But hopefully, as we review this until we get to yours, you can anticipate what needs to be tweaked on yours to make a successful character and for it to translate into a animated character for your film that'll be able to perform and act and work out. Okay, here we go. Is this anybody's here? Okay, I guess with only eight of you here, the chances of finding the 8 that of you who are here are going to be a little hit and miss. I like this character, very, very cartoony. I like the proportions and everything. 3/4 back's actually working relatively well in comparison to the front. That back of the ear could still be simplified to more that kind of shape. And then you would have the hair coming up like that, and the hair can come around like so, just so that looks a little more convincing. Again, it's just interpreting that structure. The glasses are starting to work quite well. It's just making sure that that structure is matching the front. Again, I don't know about these parallel lines if they're working that well. because I'm just looking at the height here and how that's translating over there, if it's matching up. But other than that, characters work quite well. The feet, same issue, where it's right on that same plane. Again, my hawk here, I'm trying to get this leg down a bit, this one up. If I look at the location heel, up a bit. But main thing is trying to get that 3/4 sort of look so that it's planted on a grid and looking dimensional. Okay. Hey, is this anybody's? Are you present? Are you here? Okay. Nice cleanup, nice line. I'm just not too sure of the pose, if this is functional to how the character is going to work. Always like to see a 3/4 view here and how the arm's going to work. Like if this arm was going to, well, even if this arm was back here, I just want to see, is there an elbow? I don't know. Do you need an elbow? And then maybe having the back of the hand view, and then over here we could have the inside of the paw view. So this just gives, hopefully, would work with the construction of the character that would work in the film and be functional for the construction and make that work. But there we go. Yeah, 3/4 side might have some issues there, but again, it's just making sure that it's 3/4 back. You might see a little bit of the nose snout out here, just to define that a little bit. Okay. Is this anybody's here? Still haven't found, there we go. Thank you. The same issue with the feet, especially the back view. It's not 3/4. You kind of just got the back. Looks like you tried to do a sketch of the 3/4 side of that shoe there. So that has to be looked at and addressed. Yeah, and just some of the structure things to take a look at. Head, everything 3/4 front, not a problem. All looking good. Yeah, the line here, I'm not sure why it's thicker there, if it's kind of lining up with the hair. If the intent of the hair is in front of the face or behind the face, it's just defining that to make sure that it's doing what you want it to. So let's just take a look. Again, I want to draw through so I can see. And then, is that hair coming? Is that hair behind the head? So it's just trying to define that. That's working. And then got to figure out how the hair's going to be constructed. And that here, this part of the hair is in front of the face part. So it's going to be, as you build the pieces, how are you going to level them and split them apart and make them work. Okay, that all looks good. When we get into the torso here, structure seems to have some issues, which I'd like to address. So we have neck coming up here, and that part here, this coming down and this coming down. So structurally, if this is 3/4, we would be seeing less of this side and more on this side. And then if it's 3/4 and you have these stripes on here, you'd have some lips. So these stripes would have a little bit of angle to them, simulate the 3/4 cylindrical structure that the upper torso would have on a character. And then when you have the arm, this arm here, that would work sitting on top. So now you can rotate that. And that this one would be in behind. it's there, but this is what we see. Now, the arm, just looking at maybe some structure here is, and figuring out where a joint might be. So if I bring this arm back, and I don't mind it being thin, I kind of like the proportion of making it really thin, but then figure out where's the elbow and then coming down. So I always like to demonstrate on a rotation, you know, where the joints are and get a good silhouette of the structure of that working. And now, you know, holding a toolbox, again, I want to make that 3/4. So we've got a, let me zoom in a bit. Closer. So what I'm going to try and do is, yeah, because here you've got fingers showing, but if you're gripping something, your fingers are going to be wrapped up on the inside and around the handle. So, you know, you could show a bit of the fingers here, or you could simplify by, you know, just showing maybe more of the knuckles, indicating that the fingers are going underneath. So the toolbox, you got the perspective structure going, but it seems to be going the opposite way, because I would suspect if you're carrying an object in 3/4 view from the front like this, that it would be coming this way. And that this handle would come out like this, so it looks like you're hanging on to it. So again, it's just simple shape, but giving it some structure and just some understanding of how that hand would wrap around, and that the fingers would be up on the inside, which you would see from this view. You would see the fingers, but from the front view, you'd see the back of the hand. And again, I'm just trying to get that 3/4 front matching the 3/4 front of the body. And, you know, the hand's 3/4 and the handle is coming out in a 3/4 view as well, just to make that good and solid, make that stronger. Okay. So here, so I'm just trying to figure out the rest of the character that you have here. I'll worry about the belt and such later. Right now, I just want to take a look at the legs. And give some 3/4 to the boot itself. See, it doesn't take much to get that 3/4, just curving these lines so that we've got more of an angle to it. And then the other one here, doing the same thing, but just a little farther up. So we can take a look. So now, you know, we've got that plane here and there. Hopefully we can see that. So we've got that kind of structurally working. Again, if you got a background with a grid and you know, perspective to it, even 1 point or 2 point, that if the character's standing and we have an establishing shot, this is going to make the character look planted on the ground and connect it with that environment, as opposed to a 2-dimensional flat side view. Okay. So yeah, just trying to figure out now, you know, your connections here, where pelvis would be, where your articulation of the upper body, where that can rotate, and how that would work. In this case, yeah. Again, there's that line. So this is in behind, this is in front. You can still add detail here. You could still add tools, whatever to it, but making sure that where your pivot is to move the upper body is clean, so that can work. You can add detail and tools over top on the pelvis, which would move with that, but this would all work and give you that flexibility of movement and such. Okay. And now the other arm would be, yeah, just kind of the same idea as the other one. Yeah, I'm just going to bring the arm out a bit. And then the hand, again, a palm. And if we're looking at the inside the palm of the hand, and then fingers. So just some structure there. Okay. So 3/4 back, all the same idea, is just working in the opposite view here. See, this is working better, that you got that line. And again, when I say curve, it's because there's an ellipse kind of falling around the cylindrical shape of the body. Even though we're working two-dimensional with 2D characters, we're still trying to get that illusion of 3/4 front view and getting that working. Okay. The back, same idea. Are we going to have a pelvis here? Would we have a line coming across and then the front leg and the one further back, and then the one in front? Having that same idea going on. There. So I'm just trying to get that foot. So again, it's 3/4 angle looking at things. You got the pockets on there. That's great. We can give them that. The idea of the top of the pockets, it's that ellipse around the pelvis. So this line would be, that detail would be picking up from that and working around, and then seeing where the bottom there is. Okay, so hopefully that helps. So it's just really working out structure, 3/4, keeping that perspective relevant, 3/4 front, 3/4 back. Oh, okay. Oh, so this one isn't yours. Sorry. All right. So if this isn't anybody's here, anyway, again, if it's not yours, you can see where things need to be tweaked, worked on, and working there. Okay. Let's see, is this anybody's here? Oh, we got somebody else coming in. Okay, so nobody here owns this one. I will move on. But again, you can see it's looking quite two-dimensional. We're not getting that 3/4 view. The hawk here, I've got that illusion of the 3/4, and that's what I'm looking for. The head looks 3/4. That's working nice here. The body's looking flat, two-dimensional, straight on front view. Looking for 3/4 front, 3/4 back. Is this anybody's here? Angelo, yes, your name's on it, and I see that you're here. We've got one where somebody's actually here. All righty. I like the character. I think it's working quite well with a couple little tweaks. It's looking good. My concern when I see this is the hawk's totally out of proportion. He's squished to like half his width. I'm not sure how or why that happened. So it's making sure that the comparison is of the right proportion and the right dimension. As we saw previously, here, the hawk, this is how he's drawn him on model. and in yours, he's been squished completely. So we got to make sure this is what the hawk's going to look like, and that should be reflected in your rotation and size comparison here, that it's going to be on model. So hopefully you're building to what was provided and not the distortion that you created here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, character's looking. I like what's happening with the head. You got that 3/4. That 3/4 is working quite well. Even the structure on the hand is working relatively well. Yeah, everything to about here. This is all really nice 3/4 view, and then we seem to go flat 2-dimensional here. So it's just getting that tweaked so that it's following the 3/4 and looking dimensionally properly. Okay. I'm just going to eliminate the arm here so until I got this sorted out. So again, the 3/4 front view, you would have maybe this leg would be slightly bigger. At least the illusion or the placement of it making it look like that. And then this one looking like it's tucked in behind. And then you can still keep this, but you can see the difference that this now looks 3/4 view. And this, it looks like the body's twisted. I like with the feet that you block them in. So yeah, you're getting that nice 3/4 view happening. And then even changing that angle slightly over here, that's all cool. Or even if you use the same one over here in dimension, it still looks pretty good. So yeah, so good and solid. Looks good, but you see what I mean? We're just tweaking that leg over. And if anything, making this the same, if not a little wider here, and this one a little shorter, just for that depth. If anything, it looks like this is wider and this is shorter, or not as wide, and that gives you that optical illusion. Well, which one's further away? This one looks like it should be in front, but it looks smaller. It looks not as wide, so it kind of throws things off. So it's just that seam on the fly of the pants, just bringing that over so that we retain that 3/4 from top to bottom. Okay, cool. Your 3/4 back, same thing. Upper body's working really well, looks good. Just the, again, what's happening below the belt. And again, I'm protruding the belt out and kind of making this upper shirt just slightly wider so that the pants are tucked in underneath and not a continuous line from top to bottom. And that's only so that we can, if you've separated, if you've built the top separate from the legs, that you can have a pivot, and now the character can move frontwards and backwards so that it's functional. Okay. Okay. So, and then it's the same idea that this leg, and then this one, and then maybe just the height here, that you've got this working, and this one's slightly back further. And then even the pockets, that detail, making sure it's in perspective. So this pocket would be thinner, and this one can be bigger over here. And it, again, that it's following kind of an ellipse so that they're really fitting onto the pants properly. So you see, just hopefully you see that this gives just a little bit more 3/4 perspective on that. So it's, and sometimes, you know, what works doesn't work is sometimes almost a pencil length or a pencil width where it is and the placement of the line. So it's always thinking of the structure. Is that structure working? Does it make sense? And this is the same thing. If you're going to have your character walk and such, do you need to split this up? You know, do you need a pelvis? And is this leg going to come up and the pelvis and this leg going to have the bevel? And do we need that line here so that this leg can come up and sit behind that? You know, that line might work in the cartooniness here. You can extend that line with a detail to bring it over top of this one if you want it. Or, as I was mentioning earlier, you can put a two-dimensional patch, the same color as the pants, over that line that you would see because of the leveling. And then that would make that seamless. But it allows you to have that level further back than on this one. This one lines up perfectly so with the bevel, so we don't automatically get rid of that line. This one you're going to see the line because you've leveled the leg back, but you can put in just a two-dimensional, you know, line, do a little rectangle shape that will cover up that line and then match the color, and it'll be seamless. So just some ideas there, okay? But just some tweaks. I mean, it's looking good. I like the character, you know, what you're doing with them and everything's working well. It's just that lower half and how the legs and such are working and just getting that. So it's design and function. Sometimes design has to be altered to work with the function. Okay. So I see Manor said that you've come in. Trying to think. Again, there's no names on the printouts, so I'm trying to think which is your character. we might have gone over it. Here, I'm just going through my pile, so I don't think this is yours, is it? So if you can kind of give me an indication as I go through if one of these are yours, I can get back a bit. No? Okay. Maybe we haven't got to it yet. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna double back here and make sure. Let me know if any of these are yours. These are the ones we've looked at, most of which people are not here. Good one. Okay. And then, yeah, and there's this one. So I take it we haven't got to yours yet. So we'll keep moving forward. All right. Is this anybody's that's present that we can review? Oh, somebody else coming in. Okay. So for those just coming in, we're reviewing the rotations, the pencil drawings, the cleanup pencil drawings, and just going over where we can tweak and make them that much better and make sure they're functional to be able to build from. This one here, I don't think this is anybody's claiming this one. Same issue with feet. You know, when the angles like this, it looks like they're walking on their toes. So like on my character, you know, we need to get that angle, get them flat. This is better. The back view is actually working better. But again, they're on the exact same plane and they're flat two-dimensional. So it's just getting some angle, some dimension, and that the leg in the foreground's coming down, leg in the background's up a bit. So just to give that illusion of 3/4. We're talking about structure 3/4. I'm just going to take a look at the head. I know the 3/4 back seems to be the biggest issue people are having, but if I look at this character and look here, it's making sure the face is 3/4. So we have an eye, the eye here, that the nose is here, and that the mouth is on the face. That would be good. So you're going to take this same one here and want to do a 3/4 back. Yeah, what would we have here? It's finding that shape, but that hair is over here and behind that ear. So it wouldn't be going over there. It would, just trying to figure out what I would do with that hair. And then maybe we'd see some of that ear here. And then what's the face shape? And so you might see a little bit of the nose coming out there, maybe a little bit of eyebrow, but really wouldn't see much more of that. So it's, again, 3/4 back. We want to make sure we're seeing more back than side. It's not a profile. It's 3/4 back of the character. So some things to be concerned about and try and make work. Okay. So let's keep looking here. Is this somebody who's here? Ah, okay. You can see the, it was very light. It's hard to see. I'm not sure how well we can see it here. Nicely drawn, really nice. Just wish it was darker so that we can actually see it. Let me zoom in a bit. So just making sure the lines are strong. Really like the face and everything working on that. Working well. Kind of the angle of the character. The character seems to be on a real lean here. It's kind of almost off kilter, but yeah, not a big issue. Again, I think things are working well. Again, it's just hard to see a little bit what's going on there. I like the feet in the 3/4 front. Definitely some structure and dimension going on there. Very nice. Let me just see if I can do just a little bit of a, if I can see over top here. I don't know if the light's going to help or be more of an issue. So again, on this one, trying to figure out pivots to give the character some action. And because you've got a high waist on the character here, going up here, that, again, this could be where your waist is. So the upper body of this sweater shirt would be coming down here from a circle, this circle down here, and that's where your pivot could be, so the character can be moving at the top here. The legs here, I'm just going to change the position of this leg just to get that character. I just want to play with the balance a little bit. But yeah, I like the squareness and structure on the foot there. Let me see if I can get this back a bit. Working well. And with that, that's all good. So in your design for the arm here, that you're going to see this line coming over. Sorry, I'm just having a hard time seeing. Good. And now with this leg, I'm just going to try and keep the, instead of, it's almost like this leg was straight on, I'm just going to give it a little bit more of a 3/4 look in this direction. And even this foot, I'm just going to twist it just the tiniest bit in this direction as well, just to kind of get that to work. Yeah, no, I really like the face. Everything's really nice there. Really nice. Yeah, there's nothing, no reason for me to go over. It's looking really well. But my my thing here is that you've got a joint here and working that, coming down, and now it's the hand. Yeah, you got very small hands, which is fine. It's just, yeah, a little harder to define structure on that hand. So making sure we have a palm, thumb that can come off from that, and then the 3 fingers. Again, I'm just putting them all together there. And in the other arm, again, I like bringing this one up just so we can see it. And find where that joint would be and bring that hand up. And I do that just so that I can now see the inside of that hand and the palm and what could be happening with the fingers here. Okay. So again, it's just trying to get some structure in there, some definition with the hands. Again, it's just hard to see here, but your hands, you seem to avoid. Here you got clenched fists, which really kind of lost structure. And here you kind of hid, so it's just a little tiny. So it's just addressing that and really looking at the structure of those hands. Something that we'll continually work on because hands are tough, but we want to take a look. And again, you can make those as fine and tiny as you like, but still we just want some definition structure going on there so it works. Okay. And again, I'm just using this as a pose so that it's functional, that if you build from this, you can see how it all works and comes together. But again, you have some very nice lines there. Hopefully, I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I turn off that. But shifting this leg, and that's so that, where'd my red pencil go? Here it is, fell on the floor. That we got a center of balance here. So right now, if you look at that balance, if I put a line down for the center of the balance, both feet are behind it. So that character looks like they're falling over. So just bringing this leg, just straightening this leg and putting it underneath, it balances up and keeps the character from looking like they're gonna fall over and crash face first. Okay, so just some little things there and things to be conscious about and maybe want to tweak just to make sure that the character is the reference is good for construction and the character can do what you need it to do. We're back, all working well. Again, just that issue here of this leg here. If we did the silhouette from here, that again, bringing this leg more forward, but getting this one lower. So it's in the foreground, and then this one back here with the feet there. Okay. So yeah, and again, I'm just moving that leg more over the body weight so the character looks more balanced. And getting that working. How you're going to get the, and again, it's just getting the rotation working from the 3/4 back is just good practice. If you're needing to build construct the character, and again, I don't know if you need to walk the character or move the legs and such, so it's just a matter of how you're going to break that down. But even from the 3/4 back view, having the pivot, that the upper body's connected at this lower part of the sweater here so that you can get that upper body movement. And then it's a matter, what do you need to do down here? So it's kind of the solutions I was talking about before. If you're going with that, trying to think what it's called, not hips, the pelvis, yeah, that it's tucked up underneath the sweater. So, there is that possibility that you could rotate the whole upper body from here. But yeah, those are creative choices that you're going to make. But then it's a matter of, this leg in the foreground. Is it beveled and match in with his? And is this falling in behind the two of them? And is that line exposed? And seeing that. And since your character is more of a realistic view and not cartoony, that's what I was going to suggest, doing that 2-dimensional patch just to get rid of that bevel line that you need to be able to get the front leg to blend in with this, and then the back leg to level in behind. But to get rid of that, very bold line here, you can just patch over a 2D patch, the same color as the leg and the pelvis here. And then even then, if you wanted to add, a line, just to kind of represent, let me see. Just to get that line, you can put that over top. So you could have a patch underneath and then a 2D line just to give you that seam there. And then you've got the upper part. Okay. But anyways, for the design, it's just, yeah. I think what I'm trying to get at here with the back end is that you can have a line here and then the legs. And yeah, you could have that seam there if you want, but it needs this line here to really make it work. Okay. Anyways, hopefully that helps. Just, some subtleties and things just to get it to work that much better and to construct from. And again, a nice design. I like what's all happening there. Big thing is balance and making sure that character doesn't look like they're falling over. Alrighty. And then defining the hands and things. So it's just little things to keep on top of, and just to get your final character and the construction that much more functional and looking good. Okay. All right, next one. Is this anybody's who's here? Okay, no claims, nobody going for that. Again, I like what's going on, like what's happening here. Again, it's the same issues with feet being pretty straight on. Again, the environments, the backgrounds that going to be working on and creating for the backgrounds, 3/4, having some dimension, 1-point perspective with a grid, a 2-point perspective, again, with a ground plane. And we just want the character to look like they're being able to, that when we build from these, the character looks like he's standing on that ground plane. Okay. So other than that, things are working well. Nothing too much. Again, that 3/4 back view, getting close. I don't think you would see the eye and the glasses in that way. It would be more, you've got the face, you have the neck up here. I like what's happening with the ear and the hair here, but then it would be a little bit of the nose here, and the glasses would just come out and around. You wouldn't see the pupil of the eye, and you wouldn't see the mouth from that 3/4 back view. So keep it simple. That'd be great. This one, is this anybody's here? Nobody claiming? Yeah, actually, this is quite nice. Again, nice clean line, white background. So, you can build from this. Granted, actually, the feet working quite nice. There's that 3/4 front, 3/4 back, working well. So there's structures there. Yeah, everything else dimension-wise, everything working quite well. Yeah, no real issues with that. Even on the hands, there's some good structure going on. So just some challenges, just making sure that we know where, can we build where the hinges are. Again, the pelvis, this whole area is always a bit of an issue to get the, that happening. So again, if this is going to be the pelvis, top of the pants coming up, we want to make sure the shirt is just coming out. So we got some rotation movement here. So I'm actually bringing that up with a little bit of untucked shirt there, just to give it some ability to rotate back and forwards onto that pelvis, top of the pants. Okay, cool. Right. Is this anybody's here? Okay. Just zoom out a bit. Bad. I really like the face and such. The dimension on the body. Um, I think, yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. It's working. 3/4 back. Again, this is looking flat, two-dimensional. The front's looking 3/4, which is nice. Back's kind of losing it from in the waist pelvis area here. So things to look out for. Same things I was talking about. Looking at the hands from the 3/4 front view, 3/4 back, I'm having a hard time telling is it the front or the back of the hand. So it's just defining that. Let me see. So yeah, again, if we're going to have here. And then if we're looking at the same thing, interesting, this 3/4 back view with the glove, which works. Yeah. Just want to be, again, want to have 3/4 view on things. And we've got to be able to tell the front view of the hand from the back view of the hand, the palm and the front view. So again, it's just that structure. It's just defining which it is. And there's that seamless bevel joint at the wrist, just like the hawk character. So that works fine. So I was getting at the back here. We just need that. This leg's up front, this leg's behind. And if I'm going to put a center line here, I want to show that this is 3/4 and some definition there. It's looking just losing some structure and it's looking two-dimensional flat on. So it's just getting that simulation of 3/4. Okay. Is this anybody's here? No? Okay. Either everybody's there at the end or missed some. So again, just some structure on here. It's keeping it clean, keeping it structured. We seem to have some sketchy lines, and in some cases, it's looking wire bendy trace as opposed to nice cleanup. So it's just being careful with that and maintaining the structures, making sure that the lines all add up and make to what the character's supposed to look like. Sorry, is this somebody's here? Is if I'm just hoping I didn't miss anything. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, good. So this is somebody. So we'll take a look at this and work out a bit. Yeah, it's just trying to get more 3/4 view on the feet are an issue. Want to maybe revisit what you're doing on the legs here, because again, if you're moving the legs, how that joint's going to work with all this detail might be of some issue. Let me see. Yeah, let's take a look. Let me just do a draw over here just so I can review some things. Let me zoom in a bit. Yeah. So ahead, everything's working relatively well. Yeah, I might just play with structure just a little bit, but nothing big. I mean, this is just something that if you want to. Not sure if you need these lines here, but anyway. So it's looking like a helmet. That's good. Just trying to work on face here. Yeah. So this is nice, the goggles thing that you've got. So I would do, when it comes to construction, I'd build the head with your eyes, and then I would, these goggle things, I'd do that as a separate shape sitting over top and get that to work if you can. And then you've got your, there. And the ear protection here is nice. That's working well. Let me just see, I might adjust this here. Okay, just on this, I would just to try and reinforce the dimension of the character. So it's coming out. So I'm not sure here if this is the shape on this, if this is like an area you can put your hands in or store things in there, and if that would be the same on this side or not. Not really sure. But again, I like that. Yeah, you've got this, and it looks like you've got that pelvis worked out that it fit underneath here. So you got lots of room to pivot the upper body across there, which is nice. What I would do, I would kind of just connect the leg in. I'm not sure if you need this getting narrower at the top at the connection. Yeah, just trying to figure out the pants here. With the knees, I mean, having these lines, again, this is where you need that pivot working. So this knee protector, that works. You can have that there and have it, and then link it to the top. And maybe just a couple line sort of thing of how it's held on. And this can be attached to this and would stay with the upper part, and then their bottom leg would move. Yeah, even that's going to be some problems of moving that leg back. It's going to go through that piece. So there's all sorts of little things you got to watch out for. But sometimes just simplify and have that knee pad on there, and don't worry too much about the connection and what have you. So here, I just wanted to take a look at the boot a bit and give that just a little bit more of a 3/4 structure. I don't know if that just looks better. So again, it's just trying to get that curve here, again, adding the detail that you've got, and the heel, and then coming over. So hopefully that just gives it just that little bit more structure to it. Not working. Yeah, okay. What you've got happening there and there, that's good. And you got that arm working. That's cool. Nice. Again, I'm just bringing that sleeve down so that you can get that wrist up here. You've got the palm of the hand, and then you've got the fingers like you've got. Again, I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess that's the thumb. So there we go. So it's all coming together. Yeah, it's looking nice. So yeah, I was just trying to, where you got the kind of indenting here. I don't know if that's necessary. Just gonna bring this. And then I'm just going to tweak this boot. Yeah, and again, all I'm trying to do is I'm just smoothing out this curve here just to make it look more 3/4 and structured, so it's really standing flat on the ground there. Biggest thing. Then the 3/4 back, same. Not too bad what you got there, but again, they're looking really flat two-dimensional. So again, it's just curving. The bottom just to give it a little bit more structure. Again, it's just rounding out and curving this so that it looks dimensional and structured as it goes into the background. So one of the things is that you rotated this line. Let me go over top here. You've got the rotation of this line going this way, and then you've opposite, but it should go this way, looking like we're looking into the toe of that boot. Just that little detail helps suddenly give it the proper structure perspective that you need. Okay, so if that helps out. The only thing I was going to mention on the 3/4 back of the head here, again, we want to look 3/4. The helmet's looking 3/4 because you're matching up that this part here, which is really nice. But the head, if he's got a ponytail something here, it should be kind of coming out here. We'd be seeing more of this ear protection and less of that one. And we would see then the neck coming out there. So see that just putting this more off to the side and these lines kind of coming over. So it's making sure that it's this 3/4 angle happening. And this is just looking too straight on two-dimensional. So it's what's towards us. We see more, it's more full, it's bigger. We've got the rotation, and the idea of the rotation of this line here, which I guess the back strap of the ear protection, is that if that's fitting around the head, it's the ellipse around the sphere of the head, and that we're getting that just so that it matches up that much better. And then we see a little bit of the other ear protector, and maybe just slightly smaller because it's just in the distance. It just helps that reinforce the 3/4 view. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm just seeing your chat there. Yeah. I mean, and it's not unique for yourself. I mean, we all have issues and struggle with feet and such. So that's what I'm just going through. And it's everybody's needs tweaking and such on the feet. That's what I'm going over just to help you out and, make those little tweaks and corrections just to make your design that much better. Again, for construction, again, I don't know if you need to be building from your 3/4 back view, but just like you to update and tweak and fix your rotation. Because again, as a portfolio piece, it's these things that industry people look at because they know the tough stuff. So they want to make sure, they can judge right away how successful you are at the tough stuff. So that's what we're going to keep chipping away and building on over the till the end of this semester and the next 2 years. So we're identifying where we need to work on things, and we'll keep chipping away and working on it. So hopefully this helps out in some way just to get it that much better. And again, just on your cleanup, a little sketchy and dark in some areas and lighter. So it's just care in the cleanup, which I've just demonstrated many times, but even when I'm drawing here, it's just taking that care and make sure you're getting the structure in and not tracing over and doing a wire bendy sort of thing. But every line's got to count. So we got to make sure all these lines are actually working in unison for that it looks like the object and that the structure's solid and the perspective's working. And yeah, it's just taking that care And then when we go over the line tool, then we're going to trace, but but for a real good cleanup to build the character. Okay. Anyway, so well underway. So we've got another one. Is this somebody who's here? Okay, so Ethan, this is yours. Okay, cool. All right, like the character. Yeah, you got quite the your full rotation of that. So 3/4 front, 3/4 back's really what I want. This bonus, that's fine. Huck's a little off model in proportion and such. Those are quite the long legs on there. So, but that's okay. As long as you're building from the one I provided, and this gives us an idea of height, that's fine. Even when it comes to the color, even if you want to cut and paste from what I've given into the rotation for the color, so that the hot characters looking the same in all of them. But really nice drawing. I really like the character. He's looking quite, as I would kind of refer to as realistic, which might have some challenges in the joints and things where you're going to make the character articulate. But I like feet, I was going on about those, but quite successful here. That's looked quite nice. Did a good job on that. Yeah, just the 3/4 in all of it's working, quite well. Again, some of the challenges is going to be the realism you've given it. And again, it's a matter of, just how much action, motion you've got the character doing and things. But for example, like in the arms here, and I'm just wondering, maybe we can simplify just for construction and for making the joints work and such, is one of the things I'm a little concerned about. Make sure it's happening. Because just this idea of showing this line coming around for the arm there, it can work. It's just making sure that you do have that seamless circle happening here and here. This little line tucking in here, that's going to be a separate little piece that you're going to have to tack on. Where it's going to be a challenge is, and just see, and again, I don't know if it's going to work or if it's going to be a challenge, it might be just fine, is, so if that's circle, and now if we move that arm down here, that might still work, that you would have that line. Yeah, that could work. It should be not necessarily a big deal. Just looking at the hand there, I'm just wondering if again, being more realistic, you've got all the fingers on there, which might be more of an issue than necessary. So just try to put that arm. There you got the knuckles there. So just trying to, making them a little blobby like I have with my characters, just because of the simplifying and such. But just the idea of maybe just wrapping those fingers around. Again, we can give it a little bit more finesse than what I've got. And then maybe even this finger. Come out like that. I don't know. I guess I'm just making it more bigger, gruff hands and fingers just because he's a construction worker. They just seem a little dainty and small here for that. Unless maybe he's the foreman and he doesn't do any of that. I don't know. Okay, great. Yeah, good that you fixed the hot character for me. Yeah, other than that, I don't have many issues or anything going on there. I like the 3/4 back working relatively well. Let me just see. I like how you did the ear. That was my recommendation for a lot of people, getting that working. So that's cool. The hat, maybe. Just reinforcing the 3/4 view of that. Just bringing that. The rest I'm trying to see face there. Yeah, this one's tricky because of that interesting mustache, and even the hair separation, beard separation from the body there. Yeah, it's all good. I just wasn't sure about the little dot that they have there. Hopefully that's just not the eye. You wouldn't see the eye from the 3/4 back. And I guess in the version I'm doing here, I'm just trying to get it so that it looks. Yeah, just from the shape that you've got there, I'm just bringing it straight down with the nose protruding out and going with that. But yeah, just little subtle things. And I'm sure these are little things that you might play with as you're building the character from the views that you need. Same as your 3/4 back, you've got these feet going either direction. Again, I don't even know if you see below the waist in your 3/4 back, or even if you're needing to build a 3/4 back. Anyway, so that's it. Oh, it's the freckle. Okay, gotcha. All right. Cool. Yeah, so yeah, it's all looking good. Yeah, not much that I could recommend there. It's just when you come to working on the joints and things and thinking about pelvis on the character and making sure that this upper body, again, and the way your coat goes over top, that this is all one level, so it can give you mobility here and here. Then it's just a matter of, you know, what you need to do with the legs if you're going to have that pelvis, and you know, are you going to have this leg in behind that pelvis area? This one in front is fine, and then using the bevel so it blends into that. So again, I don't know if you want to have that line coming around that completes that pelvis to put it together, or you know, maybe we can just have a line coming across. I wouldn't have the line come up that far. I'd kind of want to show, and if you're going to have a line, you know, what's been done before is kind of that seam to the fly of the pants on there, which is a detail you can put over top and just link, so it just floats on top of that. And even a line going this way is fine. And then that leg can function against the pelvis with the bevel. That works fine. And then this one goes in behind, and either that line continues, or when you're constructing, you can do that two-dimensional patch that can go over to hide that bevel line, just so you can keep the integrity of your design, so you're not having to have that line come through here for that. Okay, so just little things. And the same on the back, like I would have a line across here and finish off the behind here, and where the legs are going to attach underneath. Okay, other than that, it's just more little construction, you know, how is it going to work and detailing out, but looks nice. Yeah, good solid line, good structure, everything working quite well, like the dimensions of everything. Very good. Okay. Got another one here. Is this anybody who's joined us? Okay, nobody seems to be claiming this one. Again, nice and clean. I like what's happening here. Good clean line and such. It's just thinking through the joints and making sure that it's going to work. Looks like, I'm not sure what's happening with the hands. If these are gloves of some sort, even with that, there's a little bit of structure that would help clarify and make that work. There's the feet. Yeah, there's that bigger foot in the foreground, smaller one in the background, quite exaggerated, but still got that concept going. Really like the face, what's happening there. 3/4 of the back's working well. Again, I don't think you need any of the pupil of the eye or the eyebrow there, just silhouette of the side of the face and that nose coming out. Not sure again if it's lining up quite right, but yeah. Move forward. Looks like we've only got one more here. There we go. And is who owns this one here?
Yeah, it's mine.
Great, yeah. Yeah, I really like this character. Lots of personality to it. Nice line work. Sorting things out. Yeah, the feet are working. Gotten that dimension happening. Front and back, which is nice. Yeah, it's all looking good. And I think, yeah, as we went through the character in just the 3/4 front view, you've made a lot of those alterations, and I think it's working quite well. Again, we were talking before about this line here, and it seems to work with your character. Again, you got a tapering off here, which is nice. But again, if you do have a pelvis that is coming all the way around here, and again, this leg, when it comes up, if this is beveled, this will all end up looking the way you had it. This one, you're going to have that line coming all the way around. And as I was mentioning before, you can play around with a little two-dimensional flat detail that could just cover over whatever this line here that you don't like and just color it the same as the pants here. And then you can have control over that line and not have to have it big and bold all the way up and around. But yeah, because this is nice, but you're going to have to modify to get that to work back there, like with this patch here that would fit over top, just to clean that up, just to get rid of some of that line. But again, once you color it the same as here and here, yeah, you won't even know it's there. It's one of those details, like I was showing with the stretch character, the highlight on the nose or the little black line that comes in to define the bulbous round part of the nose. You can do that with just colored patches to hide some of the lines that are necessary to build the character, but we can get it back on model and working well. Okay, but yeah, no, looks good. So again, it looks quite clean. Definitely something you could work from. Looks good. Alrighty. Cool. So, what's our time like here? Yeah, okay, we're 20 after 11. What I'll do is I won't get into mouth charts today. Again, it's just figuring out who's here and what ones we need to take a look at. I'll take a look at those, and maybe even in animation class, we'll take a quick look at these to make sure they're working. Okay, so who is asking? So Kat. All right, so I'm trying to remember. Character wearing a vest, female character wearing a vest. I'm just trying to go through what we've gone through here. See if I can find it. Okay, give me a minute. I'm just going through the all of the. Been putting them on the floor as I've gone through. Yeah, I'm not sure if we've got it. So it's not this one, is it? I mean, this one has a vest, but I think that's somebody else's.
It's mine, sir.
Oh, is this the one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I guess I went over this when you weren't here.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being late.
Okay, no problem. So I did draw over it a fair bit. So I did have some solutions here where you can check on things. So I can go over that. Again, it's structure in here. So I was just trying to making sure that 3/4 view, that vest that you have is working in structure there. So if it's 3/4 view and we have we have the face 3/4, we get a center line for 3/4 coming around, that if that's the case, we would see more of this part of the vest on this side, and we'd see less of it over here to really reinforce the 3/4 view. So again, this width, there's more width and then less width, and that helps reinforce that. So, and then the structure, I just want to, it looks like it's almost something missing in here. And again, you had this less and then larger here, which gives us an optical illusion. So again, I'm just trying to get some structure and dimension working in there. Also, the stripes you got on that, I was trying to refine those a little bit in the idea that, again, we're building this 2D pieces, but when we put them together, we want the 3D illusion happening. So the idea here is that we have an ellipse that's giving the cylindrical shape of the upper body there. And so that these lines are just working in that structure perspective, so that it just reinforces that idea. And then, how this arm is going to attach to that. And because this is the vest and these arms could be coming out of the vest, this works nice and simple, that when you put the sleeve in there, it just sits on top of this. And because we've widened this, it can sit on top and it looks like it's coming out of that. So we got that illusion. Then with the arms and the hands, just putting more structure into them. So I like the idea that they're thin arms, but it's being consistently thin and just giving a little bit more structure. So the idea, and again, in my rotation design, I want to try and pick where I've got a bent elbow so I can see where that's happening. And then that coming down really thin into that small hand. But then, trying to figure out how they're holding this tool case is that if this character is 3/4 front looking at this way, I'll put the tool case in the same dimension. Because if you pick up something, say it's a purse or a toolkit or whatever, you're going to have it so it's beside you and it's going to be facing frontwards, just like your 3/4 view. So I just changed the angle on that toolbox so that it works in the same perspective as the character, as opposed to going across this way. So having it this way just makes the character more mobile. If you're going to build a character and animate them like this, if they're going to be walking, going to be critical that this is kind of working in the proper perspective. And then the hand. So on this case, I had kind of almost a fist, but just having the thumb and maybe just the knuckles. We don't see the fingers because they're wrapped underneath, holding on to the handle of the toolbox. And then this one, I'm just bringing that out and just, again, redefining the structure here. And again, the thin arms, whatever, I think is great, but just defining here, I'm just doing the palm view and just adding that structure there and simplification of the fingers. And they can be as thin as you like and making them work. So rather than, and then when we get down to the lower half, rather than getting it pinched in here at the knees, I pinch it in at the back, but that's more to get the upper leg, and then you can have that come out just as the calf of the lower leg, and then still you can have that circle where the upper leg meets here and that meets there, to get that so that the joint works. And the big thing, and this is what I'm really talking with everybody about, is the feet. And this is what the majority have done, is flat 2-dimensional, all on the same plane. So it's not getting that depth across. So here I'm trying to give it some structure, that 3/4, retaining that 3/4 from top to bottom, and that bottom being the feet, and having this one slightly lower than this one makes it look like that depth, that this is closer to us and this is farther away, and that'll work on that ground grid that would make up the plane of which the character would be walking on. So it's just to keep it solid and the illusion that the character is actually walking on the ground. We're going to be looking at backgrounds. That's what today's lesson is cleaning up and then going through the color process of the background. But even before you get to the color part, what I'm asking is that identify what backgrounds you have and hand those in with structure, perspective, all working, establishing a horizon line. And that should work with these feet and how we're going to present those and make them work. Okay. Now the 3/4 back, I started working on that a bit. So again, the feet, same idea. You've gone flat 2-dimensional just on the back. I'm trying to curve and have it taper away like we had on the front view. And again, rather than straight lines here, I'm doing some curvature here and making it look like it's going in the other direction. You know, see, this one's coming this way, that's going that way, so it's going away from us. And then the same idea with those stripes on the back that they got good structure to them, that looks like they're wrapping around that vest, which is cylindrical shape, like our torso, that it would fit around. Okay, and then again, I was just playing with the leg shape so that that comes down here and the calf. So it's really almost the same as the front in the back. Where the trick's going to be is connecting those to the pelvis. And the detail of that, like when we look at the pockets here, again, it's the same idea of an ellipse going through the pelvis and making sure that the detail of the pockets are following that contour. And that if it's 3/4 view, which again, you know, we're kind of doing this sort of thing, that this would be a little narrower than this one. This would be more full-on view. This one would be getting thinner as it rotates around the behind of the character. And what I was talking about before on you know, how we're going to do the structuring of this, I mean, this one works relatively well, so that if you have a pelvis shape here and you've got this leveled on top, then you can have your pivot and the whole upper body can move this way and this way. Now the trick is how do we attach legs and make all this work? Because, you know, this is a bevel, and if this leg's a bevel, it will blend in. So this will look seamless. But the issue is this will be a very solid line because we need this one to level behind so that we so when this moves, it will stay in behind this leg. So it's a matter of, does your design, does this pelvis line here, is that an issue? And with the style of your character, it probably isn't. There's a number of which that, you know, that line, just like in mine with the stretch character and even my PSA character, that line is quite visible and I don't have a problem with it. But what I was talking about before, if you want to get rid of that line, we could do a little 2D patch of the same color of the pants and then place that over top of that to clean that up, or just to eliminate that big thick line. Okay, but anyway, so there's really the ideas here. I think just need to work on some structure and really think through dimensionally how that's going to work. Really that 3/4 front, and just thinking cylindrical and how things are going to fit. So for this arm sitting over top, that all works. It looks like you got it tucked underneath, but nice on top. So then, you know, if this arm you swing, you know, you'll be swinging this toolbox a little bit and it'll look all natural. You got things to work with character. Okay, so with the head here, I mean, I like what's happening with the face and everything. All I was suggesting here is that head shape, that when you start to build that head shape, again, I'm thinking of the design, but also the functionality, how we're going to build it, that this ear could be in behind that line. And then this one would be on top of there. And that just helps split that up. Right now it seems to be tucked in the front of the face. So it's just to give that illusion of things tapering back. Okay. So if that helps out, again, just thinking about where your pivot is for the upper body movement and where your pelvis is, you can add detail of tool belt and everything on top of that and connect that to probably the lower body and then so to the pelvis so that your upper body moves. Not sure. Yeah, you'd have to play around and see if the belt would move with up here or would it stay solid with down here. So little things of functionality that you just got to tweak and work out. So we just need to work on solid structure and working things out because this is what you should be tracing from to build your character. So we just want that the best we can so that structure is best. And for this, the 3/4 back, I'm wanting you to do the 3/4 front, 3/4 back. And I want you to work on the drawing of that. But when it comes to actually building, constructing, if you don't use the 3/4 back view, yeah, let's not worry about the joints and everything. But I do want you to figure it out drawing wise and that it matches front to back and that's structurally working and dimensionally working as well. Okay. All good? Excellent. So what I'd like to do next is do a screen share of this week's lesson and we'll wrap up from there. Okay. All right. So let me see. Let me go to screen share. So here we are, week 10. So time's moving on for us. We're early in week 10, so we've got several days or a few days this week to be fine-tuning character and such. In this week's lesson, gone back into the environments backgrounds and just working on the next steps to that. So after this week, we have 3 more weeks of classes with instruction, and then another week of concentrating, getting the film done. We're chipping away on the film now all the way through. So we do have lots of time as long as we keep up. And again, I want to take a look at the Hawk and see the Hawk construction and the lip sync going. If that's all working fine, there's a good chunk of your film done. It's just a matter of animating and do your lip sync for all the scenes in your film. And then he's out of the way. And then it's doing your character and getting your backgrounds done and putting them as flats in the background. We're all set to go. So I think we're on track and things are looking good. So yeah, just making sure that we're not going to fall behind or get distracted. Now's the time to really buckle down and concentrate and get everything done, all the elements done so we can get to the finish line with the film finished. Okay, so that's still a lot of time. But you can see the time is flying by, but if we're utilizing our time, we're in good shape. So let's go to week 10. And here is the lesson. So week 10, backgrounds, cleanup, and color. Again, we're not going to worry about the color at this point. It's making sure the backgrounds are working. We'll go over the submission. But anyways, there's a few videos here. So here we go. This week, we are back to backgrounds. In this first tutorial, I take my 2 backgrounds from my PSA City School film to clean up and digital color using Photoshop. In both my cases, I have a foreground overlay. In most cases, you won't be making an overlay, so that just simplifies the process. So whatever is going to work for you and what you need, I'm trying to cover over all the eventualities and possibilities that might happen. So again, keeping it simple, I have the one location and I have a 3/4 of the left side of the room, 3/4 version of the room of the right side of the room. So I'm seeing the 3 walls in 2-point perspective from the 3/4 front of the PSA character of mine and then the 3/4 front of the hawk in the opposite view, seeing the other wall. So that's keeping it simple. And hopefully you've managed to do that so that we don't have multiple locations and multiple camera angles and everything, just keeping it straightforward. But it's a matter of how much you want to challenge yourself. And again, we'll just chip away at it. So here I go through from rough to my cleanup, taking that into Photoshop, prepping it, and working on the color. So this one here, this one's kind of a throw-in right now. It's a film production, which I'll probably show more next week. I think in the video I said that I already showed it, but I'll wait till later. It's kind of a music video production that I had done, and I concentrate on the 2D animation elements. It has live action, it has 3D animation in it, but I'm concentrating on the 2D and the solutions, the challenges and the solutions to it. Okay, so it really talks about overlays and transparencies for overlays and breaking things up, just to show leveling layers and how some other ideas of how to approach splitting a scene up if you've got some real depth things going on. And we can go over that more in classes coming up, particularly for those who find they could use that because of the challenges. But in most cases, I think your backgrounds are just going to be the background flat and your character working on in front of it. But this is just in case you've got some layers that you want to deal with. And then this one here, in this final tutorial, I have sample color backgrounds. First, there is, I have a selection of successful student work in both design and final cleanup and color. So I've showed you a lot of these films early on, and I think in the coming weeks, I'll show those films again and really talk about the solutions and how they rig things and how they set up their backgrounds so that they all really work together. And then after the student stuff, I have a number of samples from professional productions from various styles and execution. And I know everybody has a unique challenge in finalizing your backgrounds that are needed in your film. And I'm hoping that in these videos and this one, because there's a lot of variety and different productions and things, you got some inspiration and possible solutions to how you're going to tackle the final on your backgrounds. So let's take a look here. Submit PSA backgrounds cleanup. So I'm not looking for color yet, but I wanted to show you start to finish of the process so you know what's coming up. And if you want to tackle a color, that's fine, but I'm hoping you can hand in the cleanup line drawing and I can give you some feedback and if there's any changes, and then go through the rest of the process of scanning that, cleaning it up in Photoshop and prepping it so that you can do color. All right, so let me click this. So this coming Saturday, a minute before midnight, 10 points is please submit each cleaned up line drawing background to be used in your PSA film. So, if it's one, if it's two, or if it's three, or if you got a whole bunch, well, you got a lot more work cut out for you. But get in an example of each of your backgrounds, just so that I can give you feedback and make sure that the perspective, horizon line, structure is all working. And then we can get into the color stage. Okay. So what I'm marking is the perspective and structure, and then the line quality. And please, on the line quality, after seeing the rotations and such, it's really work on your cleanup. It still seems to be an issue for many of you, of really making sure that each line counts, each line is representing what it's supposed to add up to create your scene, and don't have any other squiggly lines or something that hasn't been well thought out and has structure and meaning to it. So that's all about cleanup and trying to avoid that tracy, wire bendy, it kind of loses structure and everything to it. So that's what I want us to really work on. So it's, we've done environment designs. Now you've applied them into your storyboard. Now you know what camera angles you're using. So now let's tighten that up. Let's clean that up into all your backgrounds and hand them in, and then we can take a look and get a final critique and then get into the color. Okay. So that should be that. Okay. So again, let me stop the share here. And if there's any feedback on that. Okay. So can we resubmit? Absolutely. You can always resubmit. And again, particularly after any of my review and feedback, please fix them up, hand them in. I will mark the latest that you have, and not a problem. Again, I want to make sure that from a portfolio point of view, your rotations are as good as they can be, so that it's a good portfolio piece to show that you understand 3/4 front, 3/4 back, and structure, and make sure that's all working. So please resubmit, no problem. And the other is, I want to make sure you're doing it so as you finish constructing your character, that you're fixing these little bits and that you're addressing the solutions that are available to you to get your character successfully put together and to be able to animate. So we'll get the characters done first. I do want you to look at the backgrounds and submit them so we can see how they're going to work with your character. And then last, we'll color those and get them into 3ds Max for each of your scenes, and we'll work on that process. So lots of time to be chipping away, but it's also make sure you're maximizing your time. Let's really put the effort in of getting your character built in whatever angles you need. And again, I know we're talking about material ID for the mouths of your character. So I want to review those sooner than later so that we can move forward on that, make sure that that's working. Yeah, we can move forward on that one. So long as you're being productive and we're building on what you can with confidence, it'll all come together, and it'll come together quickly. Once you've got the characters, you're good for all your scenes. And then, you can even bring in your pencil drawings as placeholders for your backgrounds until they're colored. Then you can bring them in just to make sure they all align and make sense. Okay. So thank you for being here. I wish we had more. Of less than half the class, but those who are showing up are getting all the instruction, all the feedback, and it'll show in the final production. So great. Thank you, and good for you for being here and getting all of that feedback. All right. So I'm going to wrap up. We will see you Thursday. Again, I'm going to have an early one. It'll probably be even earlier, probably be 9 o'clock, because a lot of stuff I want to go over. I want to go over the Hawk that's been submitted, the construction and the lip sync on him. And if we get time, we'll go over the drawings that you submitted for the mouth charts for your character. So quite a bit to go through. So please be here and get that. And hopefully we see the improvements and we move forward with confidence and good, strong final work. All right. If there's any more chat, if there isn't, again, now's the time. If you're having any issues or any questions about anything, now's a good time to do it. Again, you can always email me, but not a problem. Just want to, again, just want the best productions from you. That'd be great. Okay. All righty. Okay. I'm going to, here, let me switch my camera back so I can. There we go. Here I am. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you Thursday. And please be ready to come in early with a long feedback session, which we'll have many more in the final weeks here to make sure we're getting the best product. All right. Great. Have a good rest of your week. Be productive. We'll see you Thursday. No, you don't. A question here, if you're still here. It's always good, but it's not necessary. The system alerts me when the latest is been submitted, and then I have something newer to mark. But more communication's better than just to be safe. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye, sir.
All right, bye.